multi-instrumentalist Erik Dobell here in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
And I'm Mike Fowler with Fowler's Clayworks in the arts and crafts community in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
And this is sort of our pilot episode of What's Up Gatlinburg.
What's up, Gatlinburg?
What is up, Gatlinburg?
I don't know. What is up?
My cholesterol. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, my A1C. Welcome to getting older, right? We're joining the clubs.
Yeah. They want to put me on medicine. I'm like, yeah.
I'm not
medicine, that's for the weak.
Well, hush, you're cutting out viewers now.
But it's going to be a podcast about Gatlinburg. So we're getting guests on here. We already shot a few episodes today.
Yeah, sure. You know, Eric and I had this conversation. We both are business owners, and we both live here in Gatlinburg. One of the best places to ever live, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But we, as business owners and living here, we know all the time, and we've talked about it very commonly, and we're both very involved with our business leadership organizations around here. So when people, as a visitor, they're looking up things to do, there is so much to do just in this city and this whole county in general. And it's easy for that visitor to be inundated, overloaded, So here we are, and as businesses, we sometimes, because we're on the smaller end of the spectrum, we have very unique experiences we give the guests, but we disappear in this mix very easily. It can be easy to do. So here was our idea. Let's showcase some of these hidden gems, some of these businesses that are a little different, and meet the owners and behind the scenes and just have a straight up, genuine conversation.
Well, that's what people really want when they go to a town, too.
I think so.
They always want to see, if they go to Nashville, they want to see the real Nashville.
Yeah, and they're going to pop in, of course, and do the major attractions you'll find in the area, which are great. God, we have a lot of those, and a lot of fun times for families. But then what's these weird or these neat little things to come into,
Yeah, the ones you might not have heard of.
The ones you might not have heard of.
A little harder to find on Google with all the AI now, too.
Yeah, right?
And as I said, we just shot a few episodes today, and I think they went really well. And
so we thought this would be a good one, too, to just go ahead and get to know the host a little bit. So, kind of start. And we all know that's Erik Dobell, the leader of the Impossibility Show.
I don't know if we all know.
Well, I know. Quite a few know. Oh, Erik, what brought you to Gatlinburg and your career? When did it begin? How did you fall into it?
Well, I grew up in upstate New York in a little town called Elmira. It's actually downstate, but everything but the city's upstate for some reason.
Right.
And after college, I went to school for philosophy and theater, so clearly I was not made for the job market. And then the girl I was dating at the time, we kind of bounced around a little bit. She worked in HR, so she got real jobs in different places. And I was a gigging magician. Well, let me actually go back a little bit to how I got into magic. Before I tell you how I got into Gatlinburg. I was living in New York still, and I was at a mall in Ithaca, New York. I was about 21 years old. And I did not know what to do with my life because I, growing up, wanted to be a professional wrestler.
I love this.
Yes, and I don't know if you can tell by the sound of my voice, but I'm 5'5", about 100 and nothing. My bones are very brittle. Wrestling was not an option, and when I hit my 20s, I realized I'm not going to go through this growth spurt.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Or you set up to take the pain, even though it's fake.
Yeah, it still hurts. They're still going to slam down on wood, and I'm not made for that. I don't have the body for that. So I was trying to figure out what else I wanted to do, and I'm at a mall in Ithaca, New York. Excuse me. And there was a guy in a kiosk in the middle of the mall. He was selling magic tricks, and I had never seen magic in person. I'd always seen it on TV, and magic on TV is whatever, But magic in person is incredible, right? That's when you really want to see magic live. And he was just doing little tricks that you could just buy, but I completely fell in love with it. So I bought some tricks. I went home. I learned how to do them. About a week later, I went to go see the guy again to buy more magic. And the same guy, same mall, same kiosk was selling sunglasses. Because the first magician I ever saw was not a magician. He was just a guy selling overstock. So this man changed my life. Never saw him again. He could come to the show. He'd have no idea it was me. I'd have no idea it was him.
Right. Wow.
It's weird how life kind of works that way. But then because I didn't know any better, I started doing magic for friends and at bars and parties and stuff pretty quickly. And then friends started hiring me to do like birthday parties and stuff.
Wow, you want to pay me?
Yeah, I was like, wow, okay. I just kind of fell into it, to be honest with you. I was starting to do theater at the same time. I was acting in some kind of community theater stuff, doing a little bit of acting work, like on film. And it just sort of happened. And then I was a professional magician. And how the Gatlinburg thing happened was I was working for about 15 years, and it was rough for a long time. And my wife was a teacher, and she wanted to teach English in Korea, South Korea, the safe Korea. So when the ink dried on the contract and we were all set to go, that's when I got the call from somebody to do a real TV show, like a pilot for a TV show. It was going to be on Sci-Fi, I think. So it was like, it wasn't like HBO or something, it was Sci-Fi, but it was like actual TV. This is an actual TV show. Didn't want to give that opportunity up. So I went to Korea for a little bit. I recorded the show first. I recorded the show, went to Korea for a little bit, came back to finish the show. As soon as the plane landed, that's when I found out that the pilot didn't go through, as happens with TV a lot.
Yeah.
So then I was stuck in the United States with no money, no job, no nothing. And then a friend of mine was like, hey, you want to start a 2-person magic show? So the timing was perfect. So that's when me and my business partner, we started Impossibilities. We toured it for 2 summers. We talked a little bit about opening in a town like Gatlinburg. I did not know towns like this existed. Yeah. I knew there was Vegas, and I knew there was like Broadway in New York. I thought that was kind of it. I didn't know there were towns like this, or else I would have done this years ago. But we talked a little bit about opening in a town like this, but it wasn't serious talks. And then one day, I am in Asheville visiting my wife's parents, and I saw that there was a mentalist show at the Gatlinburg Space Needle. And there weren't a lot of mentalists at the time, so I called to get tickets because it was pretty close to here, Asheville. So I wanted to go see this guy, and when the person picked up the phone at the Space Needle, they informed me that the show was no longer there. It closed last week. And I said, okay, do they want another show? The next thing I know, we're in Johnson City meeting the owners of the Space Needle. We opened in March of 2016. And, I've been in Gatlinburg probably going on 10 years now, I guess. Wow. Because the show's been open, it'll be 9 years in March, so I guess, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow, a whole decade of destruction. Yeah, That's awesome. So that's the abbreviated, but still probably too long version of how I got here.
No, it wasn't long at all. It's perfect. Spot on, man. Spot on. Yeah. So what do you love about... we keep talking these common threads, people coming to Gatlinburg, experience, being happy, becoming part of the family vacation, the moment they're going to remember from years from now. What's your big enjoyment out of this,
There's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff I enjoy.
Your show's very interactive with the public.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's one of the things. I love living in a tourist town, and in a tourist town that does have an off season, but we currently, at least, we're doing the show all year. Yeah. And it's the demographics change all the time, like from week to week.
Yeah, man.
So I never know what kind of an audience I'm even going to have at the show. Mm-hmm. I don't mean that in a bad way either. No, all the audiences are great, but it's like, it's always changing. Mm-hmm. But then on top of that, I get to live in a tourist town, so I get to live in this area where there's all these like wonderful attractions. Like my wife works for Ripley's, so like, I take my daughter to the aquarium all the time.
That was my favorite thing to take Ava when she was little. Yeah. My daughter's Ava, and take her when she was little.
Oh, she loves
We'd spend
aquarium.
Hours, man.
Yeah. Oh, it's the aquarium here is just, it's amazing. And then we took her to do the Anarchista, the what do they call it? The Luminous.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Sorry, Anarchista, we didn't get the name right.
We should know. I don't think Anarchista needs help, though. I think
we all need help, man.
I think people will figure it out.
Luminite, no, that's Dollywood.
Yeah, we took her to Dollywood all the time too, though. It's a couple times a year we'll take her down there. She's got her favorite rides. She knows how to get around Dollywood better than I do.
Yeah,
like we just she's 3. We just set her down and she drags us to where she wants to go.
I think it's engineered that way.
She's got a much better sense of direction than I do.
Well, I think Dollywood engineered it that way.
Yeah. They probably did. It's confusing if you're over 4 feet tall.
Yeah. Exactamundo.
And then the community. Like, everybody here really is, because, I've been doing magic for 20 years. I've been part of chambers before and stuff, and it was kind of, it was just like, whatever. But here, it's not. It really does feel like people are looking out for each other here. It feels like an actual community here.
Yeah.
It's not like real cutthroat. Like all the other magic shows, we get along with all the magic shows here. If you talk to magicians in Vegas or these other magic communities, it's not like that.
Yeah.
It's very strange, and it's just not like that here. Everybody gets along.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll probably think of some other things later, in bed or in the shower.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons to enjoy living in this community. Yeah. So, what about you? How'd you get into pottering?
So, pottering. Yeah, I love how you always say that pottering in there.
Is that not correct?
Fowler.
Mike Fowler, the powderer.
Yeah, so my journey, I'm a native Floridian.
And
in the mid-90s.
That's a beautiful country, by the way.
Yeah.
Florida. Yeah.
Florida. So I was living in Central Florida at the time, and I lived in a little town called Oviedo, which, believe it or not, at one time was the celery capital of the world.
Really?
Yeah. Believe it or not, there's a hammock there, which is a very low-lying wetland around a large.
Yeah.
So it was perfect for growing celery.
But it's not anymore?
No, it's not anymore.
Huh.
Nope. Selling houses became
You're
more problem.
Kidding me.
And as agriculture moved further south, and
Okay.
and the development of Orlando, the big boom there.
Yeah.
So Oviedo became one of the suburbs, but anyways.
Huh.
But we were living there, and there was that art gallery is still there. It's called the Artistic Hand.
Mm-hmm.
It was opened by Barbara and Dell Seaman, who have been ceramic artists for many, many, many years, since the 70s. And were even college-level art teachers at one time, and very passionate about. Dell is still carrying on today, teaching people today. But anyways, growing up there, my stepdad was very good friends with this couple. And early on, I not realizing, it's funny how things become full circle, but growing up, they would sometimes need help moving a storage unit, or that would be full of ceramic molds, or odd jobs getting ready for a fall showing they would do every year at the gallery. So we'd go clean windows. So I'd work for them once a year, just helping my stepdad. But anyways, fast forward a few years, I'm going to school, tech school called Full Sail. Most people know Full Sail today for digital arts and gaming and that kind of education. But back then, it was really big with audio recording and film.
Yeah.
And so of course, growing up, I was a guitar player, loved music. So I finally said, this is what I want to do. I want to go record music. Learn to record music. So I started there. And as I got into it, I needed to make some extra money, but I couldn't work a normal job that required me to be 9 to 5 so many days a week. And as the way that the school was set up, we would have normal classes during the day, learning about principles of sound and all the things that come along with it, music history. And we would see a list every day where they had recording studios they would use all over town. The school was kind of spread out, and they would contract different recording studios, let them come in there and teach. But anyways, we'd never know where we would have to go that day or what time we'd have to be there. So so you wouldn't know. So you go into class, oh God, I got to be at studio so-and-so at 4 in the morning, or I got to be there at 2 in the morning, so I needed a job that could be flexible with that kind of uncertainty in when I would be there. And they needed somebody part-time, and they worked. They're typical artists. They were all over the place with their hours, so it kind of worked. So I became a grunt. So I did all kinds of things for the operation, from cleaning floors to filling molds full of clay, emptying that pot out, and so on and so on. And And they had another studio where they taught classes like I do today, more towards locals, where I cater to tourists. They catered to locals. And so she said, "You want to come down and try this?" And I said, "Sure." So I did. I got on the pottery wheel, and I was bad. I mean, it was bad. But I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And at that time, the whole process, from helping loading the kilns, I look back, in school I wasn't the best scholar, best student, but science has always grabbed my attention, and hands-on things, mechanics, And, so I was really spinning this, and I said, and the audio world, I loved it, but I was realizing it wasn't my career path.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be a long road before I actually got a job.
Yeah.
I was going to be doing a lot of internships and and no telling how long that would go. But anyway, so I made this crazy gamble and said I'm going to be a potter and left school. And they were very upset because they were very like, "Hey, no, education's so important,
Yeah.
But we need somebody full time. It's okay, But it was the perfect spot and to start at. They were, like I told you before, college level art teachers. So even though I wasn't going to college for it, there was so much reading material about different types of ceramics, this kind of stuff. So I was exposed to a lot of different areas. Got to meet a lot of different artists through the gallery that they represented a lot of artists from Florida, and so I got to see lots of different types of work, and I got really immersed in it, and a few years went by, and an opportunity came knocking to go to work for a potter on the east coast of Florida, where my concentration was on the wheel and learning production pottery and learning how to duplicate pots for this guy, his design, so he could stay out on the road as much as possible.
Yeah.
Doing different art festivals. And it just kind of spun from there, and I spent 8 years there learning to repeat and more mechanics along with the business and how to design stuff. And I met my wife. We married in 2003, and we honeymooned in Gatlinburg.
Yeah.
And we stumbled in the art and craft community one day, and on a rainy day, and it was like, wow.
That big ceramic light bulb went off.
Yeah. And we kept coming back, and I finally landed a job with Robert Aylwine at Aylwine Pottery, and I came up here in 2006. We came up with not knowing how it would go, and winging a prayer, and I'm there. I was immersed in an operation that was pretty big and very, very advertised on television at the time, and it was a hot thing there, and I got very involved in the back workings of the business, and I also had the opportunity. Robert knew a lot about roots of Southern pottery, and I was introduced into that, and that kind of sent me down. I really love old Southern pottery. Anyways, I got to meet some of the families out of the Georgia area. Still friends with them today, and anyways, it just made me get more back to the, thinking of the roots of this, and then I'm sitting here, and years spin by. We've had a daughter by that time, and and I loved working for people, but at the time I was ready to be my own guy.
Yeah.
It just took a while to get there, and this shop opened up, and I went in and talked to Chris Compton, owner of the Wood Whittlers, and he's like, "It's a good thing you stopped in." He's like, "I'm leaving tomorrow for vacation." I cut a deal, and he let me move in, and a few months set up, and we opened in March of 2015, and here we are now, coming up on 10 years.
Oh, man. That was a year before we opened.
Yeah. I know. It seems like yesterday, but, it's been a fun journey, and since then I've gotten involved. I've very involved with the arts and crafts community, served as its president from 2020 to just this year, came off. I've been its representative to our Gatlinburg Convention and Visitors Bureau Board, which has really embedded me in the business community we're talking about. And get to know everybody, and I don't know, this is pretty cool. I love this area. I'm glad we landed here. I've got great friends here. I raised a daughter here, just like you're starting to do.
Yeah.
And it's an incredible spot, man. And I love it, and I'm so glad that we're finally I'm glad me and him talked.
Yeah.
You know, he's always wanted to do a podcast. I did one for a year there.
Yeah.
And we just said, hey, why not? Let's start one, you know. And we got talking about that missing, that so hard, you know, not hard, but it's so much you're inundated with information wise on what to do here. And
yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. We've gotten to know these people and getting to show them now and share some of our love of this area too with you guys.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people love this area. They come year after year after year after year after year. And I don't think there was really a podcast. There were some Gatlinburg-based podcasts, but I don't think quite like what we're going to be able to do.
No, I think we're going to bring that inside view, and that's what I like about it. And it's not scripted. You know, you watch shows and they come in, and you guys all know this. You can tell when a show's scripted.
Yeah.
This is us shooting from the hip. Man, we know who the guest is. We know the outline, kind of what we're going to do.
Kind of.
But we're shooting from the hip in here, you know. And
hopefully it doesn't seem that obvious.
Yeah. But it's a good thing. I don't think it seems odd. I think it may. And there again, I want that reflection. Of, you know, it's genuine.
Yeah.
Just like coming to your show, it's genuine.
Yeah.
Your mind's blown. You did a trick for us on one of my episodes, and
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm still blown away to this day.
You can find that on YouTube, I think, right? Yeah.
Still out there. But, you know, and the stories these people have, you know, what goes on behind the scenes, to me, that's cool.
Yeah, well, and also, at least with the guests that we interviewed today, it feels like a lot of people here that have businesses here did come here from other places.
It's a mix of both.
It's a mix?
It's definitely a mix of both, man. I love the mountain spirit here. It's one of the things that's turned me on to this place, you know.
Yeah.
The families, the different families. When I'm sitting in an art and craft community meeting, and I'm sitting downtown at a chamber meeting, you know, it's a mix in the room, like you're saying. Yes, there's plenty of business from that are not from, but man, that mountain spirit in there, those that are proud. I mean, this is a proud people, man, and it's an honor to walk among them. But when you're in that room, and it, you know, Reagan's, Whaley's, Omby's, Prophets, Compton's.
Yeah.
I can go on down the list, and if I miss any of them, I'm terribly sorry. But, you know, because it was, you know, you think about it, and I always relate this to people sometimes. I'm like, we remember in school, we were learning American history. We may not have all paid attention that much, but when we were in
this... What are you pointing to me for?
Well, I mean, I'm including us. Us Gen Xers were not the best students at times.
Yeah.
But when they got to the sections of American history talking about pioneer days, you know, Davy Crockett and Jim Bowie and Daniel Boone, all those guys. Well, you know, a lot of times I think people's vision of the frontier was out west.
Yeah.
No, this was the frontier.
Yeah.
And these people, their ancestors, their people down the line were some of the first ones to settle into this area. Yeah. And they're proud. It's very cool to be a part of that, you know? Yeah. So,
you know, they need to make action movies that take place here. That's the problem. Like all those cowboy movies from the 50s and 60s.
And it's cool to be a part of it, man. You know, it's an area built on hard work, grit. You know, and that goes back hundreds of years. I mean, it was not easy for those people to move and set up and live here, you know. And even today, even for us, we know this as business owners. Yeah, I mean, we have 14 million visitors a year come to this county. I tell people all the time, every day is a battle. It doesn't mean we're doing bad, but it takes grit and determination and, you know, to do this.
And there's a lot of history here, too, and a lot of the history is still here.
It's still here.
There's an effort to, even if they have to move something, there's an effort to keep it.
Yeah, there's that pride I was talking about, man, and, you know, it's cool to be part of it.
So that's going to be the podcast. That's you. That's me. That's kind of the gist of it, at least. I guess if you guys want to know more, again, if you're listening on Spotify or YouTube, you can leave a comment. You can also shoot us an email on whatsupgatlinburg@gmail.com. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast and share this with your friends. And if you want to know more information about us, just ask.
Yeah, please do. Hit us up. Like he said, he gave you all that information. You know, we're going to roll forward with this. You got ideas for guests? Let us know. We'll see if we can make it happen.
Oh, and make sure to follow us on social media. We're on the Facebook, the TikTok, Instagram, and of course YouTube. Those are the 4 social media sites we're on. And I'm trying to think of what else to say.
I think that's
this is that shoot from the hip thing. I think I'm missing something.
I love that shoot from the hip, All right, I'm Mike Fowler.
I'm Erik Dobell.
What's up, Gatlinburg?